Hi, John. How you doing? I've got your work up here. I'd like to talk about it a little bit, and let's see where we're at. I want to get down a little bit here so we can fit the whole thing in the viewing area, which I think we have done successfully. So let's get started. I think that Aaron Traplin is a really interesting and unique designer in that he is very, very kind of a rough edge in terms of the way he started. He started actually as a doing graphics for snowboarding and skateboarding. So as you know, that is definitely not a conservative background. I think that he has in recent years he has changed his whole business outlook to a much more conservative um, stance and now he's a mainstream designer as such because he's very, very talented. Before he was doing a lot of skateboards and alternative graphics, and we can still see some really wonderfully cynical pieces. But he is definitely mainstream. However, that kind of rough background, I'd like you to kind of emphasize that a little bit in your layout. I think this is just really super conservative um, for such a really unique designer. Okay, and let me just start. I want to critique this piece, and I just want to see how. Okay, I see. I'm not understanding how this works because here's the thing: you've got the cover, okay, and then that's the cover. So you open up the page. What is this page three? So that would be the inside. The first page you see, as you open up the cover, you would see this designing with his own path. Um, but boy, it's tough to say. But so your next page, you've got this, and this is definitely a spread, and these are definitely spreads from here on in. So I'm just kind of unsure of how this works. Is there a page between them? You know what? Read my announcement from yesterday, and you'll see it'll make perfect sense. Typically, in a traditional booklet, you have the cover. Then you open the cover up. You have the inside of the cover on the left-hand side, and a blank page on the right. That blank page can be used as an introduction. Like I think that maybe like you've done here, or even more of just like an introduction, like introducing Aaron Draplin, designer, illustrator, author, or whatever. And then your spreads start on page 4 or 5. And just take a look at that video, I think, or that announcement. I think it explains quite a bit. Okay, let's jump into typography and layout, okay? I'm just really, I'm not seeing any grid at all. And I think that's really, really harming the design. And I think it's really obvious to the viewer. And in this case, it's not even subconsciously. I mean, we can straight up see that the page is jumping around quite a bit. There's no underlying foundation to hold the cement to hold the page together, so to speak. And that's what we call a grid. And I really want you to take a look at the video grid, the video I've placed on designing using the grid. I'm also going to give you a link in this announcement to the Ellen Lupton chapter on grid. I think it'll help a lot. But let me just give you some examples. Okay, you got your 2-column grid here. Okay, excuse me. You got your 2-column grid here. Let's go to the next page. You got your 2-column grid here, but look at here. Look how narrow your gutter is. Okay, that's the distance between that left margin and this right margin. Really narrow, but look how wide it is there. Okay, that's broken grid. See, watch your margin here. Okay, now watch what happens when I turn the page. See that distance there? Look at how it just got half that distance. So that changed there. Likewise, we're seeing a lot of jumping around from page to page. I'll give another example. Here's a 2-column grid. Okay, then it goes to a 1-column grid, but you've broken the grid. Well, I'm sorry, it's still a 2-column grid, but you've broken the grid. As we can see, the margin changes position. Then we go to a 3-column grid, still a 3-column grid, back to a 2-column. And I'm talking about just the left page only. Okay, and the right page has the same thing. Here's 2-column, here's just an image. Here's that kind of 2-column thing, but it's off, it's breaking the grid. Then here's a 2-column grid, and we can see how much farther that goes closer to the margin than that. Okay, then also look at this margin here. Well, actually, that margin's consistent. So your left margin here is pretty consistent. But then here's a 2-column to a 1-column to a really long one column. So, I mean, you really, I think that's harming you tremendously in this piece. Couple of other typographic inconsistencies. Okay, this page looks pretty good. Got the nice drop cap, got good images, good page structure, good page mechanics here. Turn the page here, and we have some typographic issues. We've got this word wrap, but look at how really strange that shape is. Word wrap very rarely works on anything other than justified type. You don't have to wrap. I mean, you can just place this as a pull quote. Another thing here is a pull quote should really be in the text somewhere. It's meant as a resting area. You have it at the bottom of the page, which is a resting area anyways. Okay, your distance between paragraphs, I think it's too great. I think it's harming the page. It's just punching holes in the page. It's just, you can reduce that size considerably. This is a widow. Okay, this is a widow. This is a widow. This is a widow. Anything sitting on a line alone is going to be a problem. More alignment issues. Okay, here's left aligned, right rag. Then all of a sudden you go to, in this page, you have, it's weird. You have left aligned, right rag. Then you have centered here. Then you have right aligned, left rag. So your gutters are just being decimated through here, causing these really super unsightly gaps. And then don't forget now, our optimal character count, that's good pull quote right there. Optimal character count is 45 to 65 characters. Now that includes spaces and punctuation. So you want to count your characters, and if you're, now you're probably pushing 75 or 80 on some of these lines here. So that's definitely calling for a 2-column grid. So my main thing is to establish hierarchy. Think about this. Think about captions, pull quotes, call outs, sidebars, and definitely, here's another issue right here. This right here is a different typeface than this. So you're using, and body copy, which is, you don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to change your body copy. Don't change the alignment or the font itself in the middle of a document, okay? Other than that, I think that you got a good foundation. Now, if you have any questions at all or any comments, please let me know. But my main thing here is hierarchy and the grid, okay? Thanks.